Hey everybody. I'm going to give people a few seconds to sign on, and I'm also going to go into Messenger so that if there are people, and if you can't hear me, let me know. Lynn Raven, can you hear me good? Welcome, welcome. Hi. Io Lori's here in the house. Hi. So, I was thinking about continuing the talk that I had earlier with you guys, but I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on some more notes and then pick up, where I left off earlier about manifesting things in your life. Hi, everybody. I miss you too. I can't wait to see you. Oh, October cannot come soon enough. Lori. So, hi, Vernetta. That's my auntie Shadow. How you doing, Tamara? Amber, hey. Okay, so everybody's here for this. This is really cool. So this is what we're going to do tonight. I'm telling you all right now. Hi. Oh, hello, Claudine. You're here too. Excellent. And hi, Tiffany. It's awesome because I'm seeing some of my students on here, people that that mentor me, that I look up to, and so this is really cool. So what we're going to do tonight is, and you don't have to ask your question in the comments if you want to ask a personal question. So, I get a lot of questions every day. Root work, magic, what do I do? Who do I listen to? Should I read something? Should I work from whatever? Okay. And so I'm going to be driving to Indianapolis tomorrow, and I'm going to be unavailable pretty much all day Monday. So I figured, hey, I'll take a little bit before I go to bed because I am tired. Hey, Veronica. Hey, Dara. And answer some questions. And I'm going to probably start doing this more often because this will help me tremendously not have to answer so many inbox questions. But if you have questions, hello Cassandra, how are you? If you have questions that there's no such thing, well, there are stupid questions. We ain't even going to lie about that. But if you're embarrassed to ask your question in the public forum, message me because I've got my iPad over here on the side. You got everything hooked up here, and I'll be able to get your inboxes. So let's go. Somebody got a question. Everybody was like, hey, yes. So that you've had like over an hour and a half to get any question you want to ask me within reason. Answered, hey, Reza, how you doing? So come on, y'all. Ask a question. I'm waiting for my first question. One of the questions that I tend to get most often is, where do I start? Okay. And, there are different schools of thought about root work and witchcraft, and whether it is something that is passed down to you by relatives or can you learn it from a book. I'm an academic. I've always strongly believed in the power of education, and I've always, oh, good. Okay. We got our first question. So I'm going to move to that because this is an important question. Okay. The go-to books that I have for root work, some of them are listed on the website. Okay. So we got 3 questions. Y'all hold those. And then if you got your question, type it in after I answer these first 3 so the things don't keep rolling. So the first question somebody asked is there such thing as a generational curse? Yes, indeed. If you believe in being cursed, then you got to believe that there are some very powerful people here. That, it's stated in, at least I can only speak from my limited experience in Christianity. If it's in the Bible, I can pretty much say it's probably going to be in some other ancient religion, simply because that's where they got the Bible from. And there's a difference between a generational curse and a cycle of dysfunction. Okay. Generational curse will happen if there's someone who is a very powerful worker, and just say, like, the story of my family is that my grandfather was cursed. He lost all of his sons except for one before he died, and he the one that lived passed for white. And so, if you come across somebody and you do them wrong, and they can curse your bloodline, and the Bible talks about the sins of the fathers, and I'm sure other people could probably chime in from their different past religions, present religions, because yeah, you could curse somebody's seed. It's probably one of the worst curses, probably one of the hardest ones to remove. It's not something that I would trust to anybody who is not an initiated person in a tradition. I am not initiated at this point. So that's not a working I would take on. I have to stay in my lane with certain things, but there are certain initiated people that I could lead you to that could help you with something like that. My Mambo, Aya Olori. There's several people that I know, Siete Solidays, that are initiated in various traditions that may be able to help somebody with something like that. So the next question is go-to books for root work. There's a ton of them. What you have to understand about books is that everything is not going to be 100% accurate. When I was considering a PhD in literature, they would give you 3 time periods in literature and be like, read like a beast. That was what they told me. Read like a beast. And that's why I didn't get my PhD. What you have to understand is, and I tell people to take it one spell at a time, okay? I say, look in various books. I've got books listed on my website that we use for Rootwork 201. They're primarily reference books. We have, books by Black people that talk about our magic. And I put a whole big old list, and I saved it because I think that was Daisy, that might have been Daisy or Rish who was asking about books by Black people about magic, and I just kept pumping them out. But, there are a ton of classics, and there are even works of fiction. That's how I first got into researching magic. Because books like Gloria Naylor's Mama Day is about the Gullah Geechee people and their magic. The Conjure Woman is by Charles Chestnut, and those are tales about their magic. We have stories that some people may not consider to be nonfiction that provide valuable information, but there is a ton of books. I got brain overload on books, so before I say, what other ones you should look at, I'm going to try to find that post and compile that list of the books that I have or the books that I want, and I will get those, and I'll post them, okay? I'll post them in Big Liz Conjure, which is my customer group. It's a closed group, and so if you want that information, join my customer group, okay? How do you create a sacred space? Well, it depends on what type of sacred space you're trying to make. Different religions have different stipulations for what they consider to be a sacred space, altars, and the like. So, generally, ancestor altars. And there are people that don't agree with this. Now, remember, not all your ancestors were good people, so you're not obligated to put everybody on your ancestor altar. I even have started a intellectual ancestors altar, and to people, and we've got martyrs. We've got Malcolm X, we've got Martin Luther King, we got Harriet Tubman, we got Medgar Evers, we got Michael Brown, we got Sandra Bland. And one of the things that someone posted tonight was something that one of my girlfriends mentioned to me last year at the Black Witch Conference, is that we need to start recognizing our ancestors right here, our elevated ancestors right here, people who have stood on the front lines for people of color, and their basic human rights. And they, the thing about ancestors are you have to continue to say their names. And remember, if you don't venerate your ancestors in your spirit, somebody else would. People can go to the graveyard and dig up the bones of your relatives, so don't let people know where your people's buried and make them work against you. It's been done, okay? So, but an ancestor altar, white cloth, candle, glass of water, pictures of your beloved dead, especially ones that will assist you in magical workings, and you have to get a feel for that, and there are different traditions. So sacred space is one of those way out there questions. You're going to have to, that's what I tell people when I do readings. I'm a psychic. I'm not a mind reader. So psychic means I get messages from spirit, but you still have to ask the question. So I'm going to need a little bit more information on what type of sacred space you're trying to create, because I may not be the best authority to tell you that. Skull candles are good for children. Yes. Depression and PTSD, white skull candles, or, white, light blue, for children who suffer from depression or PTSD. I'd have to look for ones I've been meaning that's been on the list. The depression one, trying to find a good name for it. We thought about get out your feelings. We've been shuffling things around because we really want something that's going to, from a holistic standpoint and from a root work magical standpoint, to help people with their depression. So that's something that I'm working on. I'd have to look up the roots and the herbs, but life everlasting, especially for somebody who's suicidal. Basil, lavender, white willow bark for pain, to reduce pain. Those are some of the things that I would think about putting in a mixture for depression. But there are actual herbs and roots, and I've given this answer to people before, that will help alleviate your depression. But echinacea is for all forms of illness. I would have to really, what I do is when I make a formulation, I sit down and I look at a number of reference books. I look at, especially just have learned the joy of culpeppers, that they're planetary alignments. Very important in magic. So I would have to, I always really sit down and think really hard when I'm doing recommending herbs or making a formulation. So that's something, sometimes it can take me days, because I'll write them all down and what they do, and then I'll have to go and whittle them back. So, but skull candles are always good for the mind. So love, red, green, money, white, light blue, peace, pink, platonic love, like the love you have for your children. Black, of course, when you want to fuck someone up. So there you go. So you've got variety. The great thing about skull candles is you have a great deal of real estate on them. You can take a skewer or a thame, a magical knife that you've blessed and consecrated, and carve things into the candle. The best thing to use on any type of figural candle is either a Dremel or a small drill, because you can drill out the inside of the candle, fix the inside of it, repack it with the shavings, and then melt the shavings back in. And so yes, skull candles, excellent for any matters of the mind. Cassandra, if you feel like you've had some type of generational curse in your family, I suggest that you get a reading. I love to get readings from people. I could answer the question for you, but that's not my lane at this particular moment in time. But I can refer you to somebody who could possibly help you. There are some curses that can't get rid of. People don't talk about that very often. So I think that one of the things we need to be careful with as magical practitioners is who we come across, what we do to people, how we speak to people. Because it only takes one unbalanced magician and some real evil spirits to do a number on you. But that's where your spirits come in. That's where your ancestors come in. So if you got your draws down because you haven't been, observing your spirits or honoring your ancestors, and you don't have any protection, if you haven't done any root magic for protections, then that leaves you vulnerable to this type of thing. And all of us would love to do a better job of that. And I know from being a practitioner myself, yes, life can get in the way, but the more you do it as a routine, the easier it becomes for you to basically just automatically do. Preparation for voodoo initiation. What is the process? Most of it I can't tell you, Sharon. All I can tell you is this. If you're interested in voodoo, understand that it does cost money. Some houses are more reasonable than others. I love my Mambo. I think that what she has to offer is amazing. and complex, and I've learned new things from her every day. But if you want to initiate in voodoo, the first thing you have to have is, I would say $35 to $50 for divination. Because the law ain't for everybody. Sometimes people are directed to go in another direction. But most of the time, unless there's something, like some people, I know in Orisha, and I can't speak about voodoo because I don't know what the divination is, but like in Orisha worship, sometimes they'll tell them they have to pass the Ifa. They, jump over, Santeria and things like that. So it just depends, okay? But you're going to start with a divination, and you're going to have to understand that there are a number of things that you're going to have to get in preparation for your initiation, and we don't discuss what those things are, because they all have meaning. And remember, voodoo, NEATR, it's a secret society. You got a lot of people out here that are publishing books about things that they probably shouldn't. I kind of feel sorry for people that start to expose the secrets of the said religion. It's secret for a reason. And I respect that. And I understand people, if you don't want to be in that type of religion, cool, that's fine. But don't play hate the player, hate the game. So, you just need to know, you need to start saving your money. I know when I was in the church, I was easy putting $5,000 to $7,000 a year when I tithe. And that was every year. We're not talking about, when you initiate into ATR, you do pay a one-time initiation fee, but you also should be financially supporting your godparents, okay? Back in the day, godparents didn't have to work. It's ridiculous that we are not at the numbers or the financial support that, they can devote their entire lives to this, because even I have a day job. Excuse me, and it's hard to keep up with everything, and I know lots of priestess and priests, and they're blessed if their houses sustain them, but as we should. There should be love offerings. There should be things that will sustain your priest or priestess. As far as voodoo is concerned, you cannot be initiated in the United States if you're talking about Haitian voodoo. You're going to have to put your feet on Haitian soil. So prepare for passports and airline tickets and things like that. That's just common knowledge stuff. You can be baptized here, but that is not the same as an initiation. I see a lot of people talking about they were initiated here. I'm not a big fan of insulting other people's practices and their ways of religion. I stay with what I know. Me, almost 50 years old, I'm still not initiated yet. There is a lifetime of knowledge in these ATRs that really kind of makes me a little wistful about not having done this sooner, or not even knowing about it sooner. But the thing is, you got to realize that sometimes it takes a certain level of maturity. So, understand, if you are interested in initiating, you need to just start saving your money and working and asking your ancestors to help you. And then when you do get approved for an initiation process, you'll get the instructions about what you're supposed to have. And, but just start, I don't care if it's change in a jar. Start putting money away if that's something you want to do. And I don't care if people are mad about it. Things cost money. And these are, if you can go on YouTube and see videos of elaborate fetes and the things like that. And it costs money. And this is their living too. That's another thing. People don't want to pay because I guess they think this should be free. But nothing's free. So, the first thing is a divination. Everything will come after that. There are a number of books available. I will check with my mambo to see if there's a couple that she recommends that I can pass on people's way. But most of it is secret. And there's no preparing for that. It's just like having kids. I mean, it's one of those amazing experiences, so I've heard. And, it is something that will change your life forever. So you can't prepare for something like that just monetarily. Get your mind right. Start cutting out nasty habits and nasty behaviors. Work on cleaning up your act so that you will be acceptable to the spirits. Nobody's perfect, but there's things that all of us can do better. Okay. So, yes, Mama Day was one of my favorite book, Yazzie. Okay, one of my thoughts on someone who is weary of retribution work. Everybody's got their lane. Everybody's got their specialty, Tamara. I'll do some retribution and justice work. What I would not do is I would not go after anybody, number one, that didn't deserve it. I had to have some unequivocal evidence that that person was a jerk and had done something incredibly wrong. However, often, even when I know that information, I divine on it. I ask my spirits, okay, they're asking me to do the work. And first of all, there's certain things like, and that's why I tell people to seek initiation, because I call root work the gateway drug. Okay, this is not gonna be enough for you if you're gonna want to take your magic to a higher level. So there's certain things that I just wouldn't do because that's not my lane at this present moment in time. However, I always believe that if you've been wronged, you have the permission at least to ask, can you reverse, curse, retribution, jinx, hex, whatever you want to call it. There's categories, jinxing, hexing, cursing, going up the staircase depending on the severity. I always write an escape clause in my curses. I always give a person a chance to change. You do right, it's lifted. And you do wrong, it stays. Okay? So people are love and light. You've gotten that from basically white people. Okay? Let me get my phone charger because it wants to clown and it wants to die. And I gotta plug this in real quick. So bear with me, people. I'll bring this a little bit closer to me. Okay. All right. So there are people, black people never really had questions about this until, I guess, the exposure to other people's practices that say do no harm, in voodoo, in hoodoo. Because I don't speak about voodoo because you don't speak about it, you live it. But, the reality of the matter is there's none of that in hoodoo. There's no karma. People misunderstand karma. Karma is how you live this life will reflect what your reincarnation will be. And if you don't believe in a religion that believes in reincarnation, ain't no karma. But, what goes around does come around. It just ain't karma. Evil begets evil. Good begets good. So if you're just out here, and I was a member of a group where those folks was just in there posting people's pictures and just waylaying people just because they, I ain't like the way she looked at me, or I was checking my shoulder. I think it was one of my dreadlocks. It was you never know when there's a spirit tapping on your shoulder. But, and I've had that happen before. I don't believe in just wilding out on people. I've had to curse very few people. I've had to reverse a lot of negativity because people are just haters. They don't like people to do well. And it's very sad. So let's see. Thank you, Claudine, for sharing my video. Okay. Watching under the full moon. Yes, it is a full moon tonight. Yes, St. John's wort. I was thinking about that. But I didn't remember all of its properties. And that's why I didn't recommend it. But I'll go back and look. But I think that's on the list. Okay. Okay, Patricia, I don't know nothing about this pineal gland stuff, okay? I see this stuff all the time. It's the Hotep stuff, and I don't know anything about pineal gland. Now, you want to talk about opening your third eye, which, I don't know, is a pineal gland attached to your third eye? How to open yourself psychically? That's something we can talk about. I stay in my lane. I don't know anything about the pineal gland other than the fact that I see it all day, every day. And I'm just like, what the hell is this? And, I just, when I want to know about something, I think I read about it once and it wasn't for me. It wasn't something that I felt that I needed to be overly concerned with. I think it's a buzzword. just like a lot of these things, but there are people out here who fully believe in this pineal gland, and that I believe what I read, only black people have it, or other people's are calcified or something like that. You know, I'm always about learning new things, and I've made the mistake in the past of poo-pooing some stuff and then having to go back and be like, they had a point there. So research it. That's all I can tell you about the pineal gland. All right. Greetings, Santhia. Hello, Kai. How are you? I got a message from I can't remember his name at the store, but I'm gonna call him. What spell where the results gave you chills? You know, I just get chills on the regular. When I talk, I got chills this morning when I was talking to y'all. I don't really, do a lot of baneful magic because I try to reduce drama in my life, so I don't have to do that. But let me tell you about one spell, and I swear I told you all about this spell. Oh, I love this spell. And if I get a chance, I'll go get my book and read the spell to you. But my cousin, half my family thinks I'm a devil worshiper, the other half are my clients. Okay, so my cousin had a Lavelle, yes. Tell him I'm going to get in touch with him. Tell him I'm not ignoring him, okay? Okay, my cousin had an ex that she'd had 2 children with, and he was not the most attentive father. And then she got a chance to move out of state and start a new life. Well, she didn't exactly tell him she was leaving. And of course, even though he wasn't around, he decided he was going to take her to court and make her come back and make her work out some type of custody agreement. And I was just like, okay. So after I got through blessing her out for doing it wrong, because if you have a parenting agreement, you should go to court when you want to do these types of things. I did a spell working for her that would allow her to do certain things in the courtroom. Like she had Low John root in her jaw when she went into the courtroom. She was spitting in her hand and rubbing it all over the opposition's table and her table and everything like that. So he surface in the court. She was taking a spiritual bath for about a week. I believe it was Psalm 35, because at that time I was Christian, and that's what I had her working with. With him, I did a skull candle, and I put my special confusion and then some blend in it. And basically the spell was as such that you ain't shit, you ain't never been it, okay? You just lousy. And so until you're willing to come correct, do what you're supposed to do right by your children, you will forever be confused. In fact, you will be so confused that you won't even be able to tell a straight story in court. And let me tell you, baby, he got to court and got caught in so many lies. He had his mama on the stand talking about he couldn't see his kids at Christmas, and the judge asked the mama, well, what did you buy them last Christmas? Silence, crickets. When the court case ended, he went from paying like $150 in child support a month to $1,200. I thought that man was going to fall out. He was like, oh, can I talk to you? Can I talk to you? To my cousin. And they negotiated it in half, but she was like, oh, if you want to see them, you're going to have to pay to come and to have them flown back and forth. And for these, and you're not getting all the holidays you think you were going to get. And he agreed to it. Okay, so now his wages are attached. Okay. He had gotten a job thanks to her, and had got some back pay because there was a dispute at his job, and he had actually used that money to fight her in court. But the spell that I put on him didn't stop at court. It stopped when he was committed to acting right. So lo and behold, I get a text message from my cousin that this man has been arrested, because the first job she had for him was working for the city that she worked for. And he knew where they kept all of the municipal supplies like snow blowers and weed whackers and lawnmowers. Who steals that? He did. His mind was so jacked up that not only was he stealing stuff from his former place of employment at the police station where they have cameras, you could see it in the basement of his home through the windows, and he even had some of the stuff on the porch. So dude's like, probably, if he ain't in jail, he's tied up in all these legal fees and he can't be a problem to my family again. You can't mess with my family. I'm sorry. I will make you wish you were dead. I'm not really one on physically hurting people unless it is something very violent, you know. Um, like, even if somebody's playing with my money, I wouldn't be going after them like that. I don't get any satisfaction out of people suffering. But I also put people in control of their own situations. So, could he do right if he was mentally confused? Yeah, he could. Empathy comes from the heart. So that was one of my happiest results for my spells. But I've had a lot. I had a client who did a sweetening jar instead of cursing her sibling, and got amazing results from that. And that client is on this call tonight. So I've had spells that didn't work the way I thought they would, but that was because there was something else that needed to be done, that needed to transpire. Um, how do you do let me see, how do you honey jar spells? So Rome, you're asking how to do honey jar spells. Well, jar and some honey. But seriously, I'm going to have to get the list, Candace, on the books written by people of color. I have the whole list. I was on fire one night. I posted about 15 of them, but I love Zora Neale Hurston, Mules and Men, Tell My Horse. I love the Book of Negro Folklore by Langston Hughes and Erna Bontemps. I love Mama Day by Gloria Naylor. I love Jambalaya. I love Mojo Working by Dr. Hazard. There's a ton of books by us, okay? Now, reference books wise, like looking up things like that, I still will look at Cunningham and then Culpepper's, and I cross-reference those and Papa Gems, because those are herb root work is universal. There's some type of root magic in a lot of practices, whether they be African or not, working with the power of the root. And so that's why I'll teach anybody basic root working, because you can find that in a book. As far as ATR, y'all know my position on that. I'm seeking to recruit people of color. Honey jar spells can be used in any type of jar. This is, you can get, I like these little stout jars. I like the itty bitty jars. I don't just put honey in a jar spell. Okay. You can do a jar spell for good or baneful magic. Okay. It's not just sweetness like a lot of these people perpetuate in the media. You can, and I load mine. I put syrup, honey, sugar, stevia leaf, not that white stuff, leaf, corn syrup, and some blackstrap molasses, okay? And then I'll put the appropriate herb mixture, like, so for example, if you had a child who was causing problems in the home, okay, and you wanted to sweeten them, I would probably put Ackright and Peace Be Still in there. I'd probably I keep me some of my child's hair. I have both my stepdaughter and my daughter's hair. Yeah, their hair. Okay, that's one of really, really, really important things you can have as a personal concern from somebody. Be a good witch. Don't leave your hair anywhere people burn it. And then I will take their picture and I will, print it on the computer, and I'll write their name across it, and I do it 7 times. 7 is the number of completion in the Bible. As I stretch out my magical knowledge, I'll stop probably using certain things and add different things to my practice. And then I will turn that paper, like for example, if I want to encourage good behavior in a case of a honey jar, I'm going to turn the paper clockwise, and then I'm going to write my petition all over their name. And then I'm going to fold those roots in a little packet in that petition paper. Things you want to come to you, you roll towards you. Things you want to go away from you, you roll away from you. People say, I roll it up in an odd number, put it in the bottom of the jar, put in the sweeteners, close the lid. I suggest that you either use like white emergency candles. Those are very inexpensive at the dollar store. Chime candles don't melt down very well on jars. Okay. And and it reminds me, I've got to send a young lady some chime candles. I did a jar for my child, a sweetening jar, and I just didn't like the way the chime candles, they don't like leave a residue, because the idea, and Belladonna has created root work, I think it's 103 jar spells. You should go and see the picture on the website. It's so beautiful because it a number of different candle colors, because there may be different things that you want to pray over. So I fancy myself a poet, so I might write myself a little cheesy rhyming spell. Some people like them, some people don't. And I pray over it at a certain time every day, and I burn a candle on it. And then after I'm done praying it, I literally feed it to my ancestors. My ancestor altar is on my mantle. So I'm going to feed my ancestors my working inside the fireplace. And you burn a candle on it enough, it will cause a seal over the jar. So that's how you do a honey jar spell if it's baneful magic. Vinegar jars. There's a number of jars you can do. Okay, the type of spell is definitely what rules the contents in the jar. I can't speak to you about Palo or Santeria initiations. I think they're done here, but that ain't my lane. So I would encourage people like oh gosh, I'm having a hard time with names. I'm tired, y'all. I've been up and going since this morning, but there's a book. Hold on, give me just a minute, and I'm gonna find it for you. Okay, just give me one moment. I'm gonna find the author. It's and then I'll go on Amazon. One of the first books. Oh, come on. Okay. Lilith Dorsey. Lilith, you're going to be mad because I had a hard time with her name tonight. But she's written a book on comparing or explaining the different types of African Caribbean religions, and there are countless books on those. What I suggest is that if you are interested in a particular path, that you read about them and find the one that resonates with you the most. If you don't have a lot of money, I've gotten Santeria and voodoo books from the library. You can get them interlibrary loan if your local library doesn't have them. There is basic information, historical information about all of these religions that is given to the public. And those are the things, along with divination, that can help you move in the path in where you want to go. This is not something that I can answer for you. And a priest or a priestess from a tradition would have to give you a reading. Often that reading in the Yoruba religions will tell you the spirit of your head. And a lot of times people don't crown because it is fairly expensive, but they're able to work with their own personal spirit. In voodoo, where, the houses are doing so many different things here, but honestly, now looking back on my experiences, I would have just preferred to wait before I erected any altars. Some houses don't believe in esco readings, which is those are the spirits that escort you. Some people do, but I find that the houses I tend to like more don't do that. You will receive the spirits you're supposed to receive at your initiation. And in Haitian voodoo, you must go to Haiti to be initiated. Okay, so that's that. Okay, certain causes cause the death of people and cause certain illness. Yeah, but menstrual blood to cause cancer, doubt it. Menstrual blood is often used in binding, or like with you're connecting yourself to someone. Menstrual blood is a very powerful tool. Makes me wish I still had a uterus, but things happen. Often, the most time that I've heard of menstrual blood being used in a spell is when, a woman is trying to keep a man. That's why they say you don't eat everybody's spaghetti. Missy Elliott talked about putting her booty in a man's spaghetti, and pussy don't fail me now. So, the thing is with that is personal concerns. You wouldn't put your own personal concerns in a spell to hurt someone else. That's there's a lot of common sense things here. You personal concerns and laws of conjugation is that these things will stand in the place of another person. So I'm not gonna put myself, being my menstrual blood, my blood of creation, into a baneful spell to hurt someone, because maybe I'll end up with being the one getting cancer. So, be real careful about spells that cause people illness and despair. The best spells to do with were, especially on bad people. Now, if they do some really horrific stuff, I'm not going to tell you that there's not a place for that. There is. But usually, no. Usually people get all in their feelings and then they want to start building a coffin box and burying somebody in the graveyard. And let me tell you, boo-boo, the last person I buried in the graveyard was threatening to kill one of my friend's mothers. And he disappeared. Poof. I don't know what happened to dude. But he got buried in the graveyard. That's the type of stuff you bury somebody in a graveyard for. Somebody piss you off and they ain't talking to you no more and they ain't your friend no more. Well, you can either give them a shut the fuck up spell. You can give them a, beef tongue spell. Or you can bind them, freeze them. There's a number of things you can do. But too often, and I've seen this in these Facebook groups, and that's why y'all don't see me posted in a lot of these groups, because I can't stand them. It's ridiculous. Somebody comes in with a problem, and yeah, sometimes they're real problems, but they're not. The first thing is goofer dust. I'm like, do you know what goofer dust is? Because if you make that right, and it can have some devastating effects on somebody. Okay? So I wouldn't put myself in a spell though to hurt somebody else. Okay? Altars. No altars in the bedroom. Did your ancestors, like my mama didn't want to see me walking around naked. My mama didn't want to see me having sex. This is common sense here. If you are in a situation where you have to have an altar in your bedroom, put it in a closet. Put it in an armoire. Some people don't have that type of space. Some people live with people who aren't like that and don't want to entertain your witchy ways, okay? The first thing I'm going to tell you is when you get the altar set up, get your stuff together. I'm trying not to cuss, y'all. I'm trying to be a better person. Get yourself together where you don't have to live with people like that. So make the first workings that you do on that altar financial independence and prosperity. Secondly, a place where, I've always had my altars in my home where everybody gathered, and, depending on what I learn in the future, I may change that, because I always wanted my spirits and my ancestors to be an integral part of what I did in my life. You put them in some faraway room or something like that, you tend not to do what you're supposed to with them. So I always have them front and center. So if I pass by my ancestor altar one day, I told y'all, I passed by and it was like, oh, you gonna give us one of those BLTs? We smell that bacon. And I was just like, and the one day I didn't want to do it, they made me drop my sandwich. So it depends though. Your practice. Ancestor veneration is the loosest form of altar veneration, and it offers the most flexibility and doesn't require an initiation. You give your ancestors what they like, okay? You give them things for their birthday. We sang to my grandmother on her birthday. We bought her a cake. We put a piece of cake on the altar. She got the first piece. Everybody else had cake, and we celebrated the woman who really basically was the first magical person I ever knew. Okay? So, you can start with the ancestor altar, but like I said, my daughter has a fit. If she comes into my room, I had to go off on her the other day, and then I made her clean my bathroom because she was like, "Ooh, put some clothes on." I'm like, "I'm in my bedroom." So, just like if you're having sex, this is a place where you let loose. Your bedroom. It should be that should be a paradise for you as well. But no spirits that I deal with would like to see me walking around naked, because modesty is key, and they don't want to see me having sex, even if it's with myself. I might want to see that. So, and trust me, when we moved into this house, y'all, We were like, this room is so big. We don't even know. We're running out of room. And running out of room for altars, running out of room for supplies. But then, then you work on getting blessed with a bigger space or a different space. Curse the mother but not the child. Curse someone and not have it affect the unintended. We got to understand, especially mothers with small children, that's one of those things about cursing people that you got to pay attention to. One of the things I told one of my first reading clients, he wanted to curse some people. I said, you do realize that as a member of this family that you might have some fallout, okay? Because you're cursing your own blood. I stay away from cursing mothers with children. Unless it's to get, there's tons of work I can do. Get her away from the children. Maybe the children are being neglected or abused, and then there's mundane things, because if I know that, I'm calling children's services. But, if you go after her money, say, you curse her money, she can't feed them. So, you have to use a little bit of discretion, a lot of discretion. People need to use a lot of discretion when cursing people. Magic primarily is to level the playing field. Instead of cursing and talking against somebody, why don't you improve a situation for somebody? That was the one thing I learned in the Christian church that was absolutely paramount to my spiritual experience. Instead of wishing bad things on them, pray that they do better. Do workings to change their spirit. Do workings to change their hearts. And that's for people who are, especially if you are wary of cursing somebody. That's the best way you can do. I don't ever get any joy out of hurting anybody, but I'll hurt you if I have to. It's just like spanking a kid who, if you're a good parent and you're not abusive and you do believe in spanking, you don't enjoy that. If you enjoy that, something's wrong with you. So any type of discipline needs to fit the offense. And you also do have to worry about the fallout. How could her children not be affected? Photo of your ancestors. I have a picture of my mother in my room because I want her to be the first person I look at when I wake up in the morning. But I don't have an altar where I communicate with her in my bedroom. I've heard you're not supposed to have mirrors in your bedroom. Well, that's going to cut out me and a whole lot of freaks. The way I was raised, you shouldn't have mirrors out and about uncovered if somebody is in your home and they're dying. Or you shouldn't be using the mirror that you use as a portal to communicate with the dead as your dressing table mirror. You can create your own scrying mirrors and things like that, but that's also a matter of discretion, okay? Know about curses? Yeah, right, that's right, that's true. Like, people always want to go and do curses and they want to do them on their own. Definitely talk to a worker first. Always get a divination before you do any spell work. The only spell work that I would do without divination is protection work and blessing work and, abundance and prosperity and healing. Those are the types of things that you should be doing. I call it CPR. Cleanse, protect, reverse. I might do a divination on the R in CPR. But cleansing and protecting, I don't need to do a divination for that. That's common sense. But you talking about fucking somebody up, I suggest that you might want to ask somebody. And if you don't know a divination system yourself, you should be asking a paid professional, somebody with a lot of experience, somebody who knows how to stay in their lane. Because if I always am really inspired by workers who'll say, I can't do that for you. That's not what I do, or I don't think that's effective. I've had people say, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Well, it's on you. But I'm not going to be the one depending on what it is. When am I writing a book? When I get a minute to breathe. This is a mood. What kind of mood? All right, let me see. Papa Jam used to be based out of San Antonio. Yeah, I'm not sure where it was. Alga syrup. Yeah, that's some good stuff in a sweetening thing. I hate the way it tastes, but alga syrup is made from blackstrap molasses. Okay, maple syrup. Yep, I put that in there. Maple syrup runs fast. You have to remember with honey and that you have to look at when we talk about the doctrine of signatures, that an herb or a root will do magically what it does mundanely. Its properties will be the same in magic. So, honey, oh God, you ever poured honey out of a jar? You know how slow that is? But the beauty of honey is that it doesn't spoil. Okay? Yeah, and that's another thing. Check your jars, because you might have some spoilage, and then you'd want to get rid of that working and restart it. Okay, when you finish with your jar, well, there are countless theories on that. One of them is not so good to the environment. One of them says take the whole jar and throw it into the river. And some people say take the whole jar and break it on a tombstone. I think that if it's biodegradable, you pour the stuff out of the jar. You clean the jar out, and if you're done with the working, you can bless it with maybe some Florida water or something and recycle it. Don't use it again. Don't use it for any other magic if you're done with it. But I think there are ways around. I remember when I first started practicing, I read Stephanie Bird's book, and I was talking to all these old school traditionalists, and they were like, you don't do that. But what I remember is, she was very sensitive about the environment. Remember, we can't just throw stuff in the crossroads anymore, because if somebody's car could be damaged, an animal could eat it. So it depends on what you're doing. It depends on the tradition that you follow, and it also depends on your commitment to the environment. Yes, okay, so Kai answered the question about Santeria. You have to be initiated to a house and then perhaps sent to the homeland for crowning, right? Okay, for crowning, you're not gonna get that here. Maybe what are they doing in Miami? It depends. I don't know. That's not my thing, so I'm not gonna speak on it. Oh, donate for your time this evening. I thought about that, and I appreciate that. I think that I'm going to put up a link, an item that has like a varied price. I got to figure out how to do it on my website to donate to the altars, because buying stuff for your spirits costs money. So that's what I think I'm going to do in the future. But right now, Liz, Candace, make a donation to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If anybody here wants to donate for the time I've spent with you tonight, donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. That's one of my go-to charities. They don't charge to heal children at that hospital. Like it all, when I think about St. Jude's, and I think about Marlo and her dad, Danny Thomas, and all they've done for that hospital. And I get emails from them, because St. Jude is my favorite saint, and I worked with St. Jude as a Christian, and now I look at St. Jude as the energy of the spirit of fixing the impossible. And let me tell you, St. Jude will work for you. So if you want to, and I really appreciate that, please make a donation to St. Jude's Hospital. Yeah, your grandma you say, remind you of your grandma. Yep. Red pepper herb packets, yeah, those things, those are really good. Jars of lye, yeah, the one that under her bed, that's interesting. Now, one thing that people said that you often should do for protection is put salt in the corners of your room and have a jar of water under your bed. I remember I used to get sleep paralysis all the time. One of my best college friends, I sit up with her mother. A woman would get up so early, she wake the rooster. But she would tell me about how the spirits would ride her, and I realized that was what was happening to me my entire life. And it was sleep paralysis. She also had narcolepsy. And when she died, and they went to move her things out of her house, they picked up her bed, and that glass of water was underneath her bed. And she was the most church-going Christian woman, going. Okay? Yeah, so, yeah, people, that's the thing. With initiations, you can ruin Even if you go over there and everything else, if you don't follow your taboos and the rules, you can ruin your initiation. You can get kicked out of an elay. You can get kicked out of a house. There are certain responsibilities that you're going to have if you join ATR. Should be something that you take very seriously. It's going to change your life in amazing ways, but it's also going to be pretty demanding. It was not something that I sought to ever consider doing, but when you're called to do certain things, you have to answer that call. And to me, you can be a voodoo son, yes, all your life and never initiate. However, that really applies to people who live in Haiti because they live it. But for us, foreigners who have no concept of what in the world to do, and then you got people over here telling you misinformation, you got to go to the source. And you should talk to somebody who has been initiated, who trusts their godparents to talk to you about initiation. And if the person tells you they have all these problems with their godparents, well, duh, that's somebody you don't want to deal with. But, yeah, Veronica, I don't know about cancer, menstrual blood. That's a spell I haven't heard of. But like I said, man, there's a whole world of possibilities of the stuff that people be doing some stuff. And it's not good. And I really, that's why I really dislike a lot of people, their motivations right, Goofer kills people. Their motivations for initiating. I mean, hey, I'm just going to tell you, it's powerful. Everybody I've ever spoken to, it says it's changed their life. But if you were in the right frame of mind, it changed it in a really positive way. But it is not going to make you the almighty Oz, People think, I had this one dude who didn't know anything about voodoo. And they were giving him a Ngan, a super initiation. And he came to me for basics that he should have known. I played like I didn't know how to find them. And then they were telling me that they were doing it for their shamanic practice. And I'm like, okay, but that's not even in the same realm. If you're doing this strictly for the power, I would advise you not to do that. Initiation is for your spiritual growth. Why would a person like me seek initiation? Well, like I said, there's certain limits on what I am allowed and able to do, and I'm not talking about baneful magic either. I'm just talking about working with spirits when somebody really, really needs it. That requires a little bit more than a gree bag or some cologne. And so, also, I think that everybody should really try to grow, okay? I don't think that you should stop just because, I've learned hoodoo, okay. Now, I don't see myself pursuing any other ATRs, but like I said, when you get called, and if you've been given permission by your godparents, you usually don't have a choice. So, like I tell people, look, you come to me and you tell me that you want to initiate in the Haitian voodoo, be ready, because ain't nobody playing. If I refer you to my mambo, you better have all your P's and Q's together. You better have your coin together, and you better have your soul right, because I don't want to be siblings with people who don't know how to act. So, I have someone that I trust implicitly, who has been nothing but honest with me, and I don't have any hesitation referring you. But and the law gonna know if you don't have your life right. If you've ever been to a fete, and I don't know if this happens at misas and other types of religious settings, but a lawa will read you for filth. Like you on the mourner's bench at church. Tell all your business to everybody in the room. So, they know you. They know what you're going to do before you do it. Okay? They know everything about everything. You can't hide. So before you want to expose yourself, it's good to like kind of be on the right track. Remember, this is not about power. It is powerful. It's not about magical power. This is about spiritual work. This is about matters of the spirit. And yes, there is a certain amount of cursing that can go on as well, because you have to understand that there weren't a lot of police in these distant villages, and the mumbles and guns. They're the doctor, the lawyer, the chief. They're everything, and so they're responsible for punishing people if they're responsible for punishing their own if they do something that is vile and against, someone's human dignity. So, and that's stuff you all can learn in books. Okay. Good night, Lynn. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go I'm gonna give you about 15 minutes. Yes. St. Jude Hospital. Yes. Arrowroot. My favorite thing to do with arrowroot, I use arrowroot powder for sachet powder sometimes. You can use cornstarch, you can use rice flour, but arrowroot powder is that's my go-to for making powders. Here's Jezebel. Hold on a second. Come here, Jezzy. She's so fat. Say hi, Jezzy. Say hi. She's probably gonna bite me. She's such a little heifer. Say hi. Say hello, everybody. Hello. Okay, you want to go bye-bye now? Because you're getting on my nerves. Stop walking on the table. You have no business on the table. You are a black person's cat. We don't let you walk on tables. Goodbye. Have a good evening now. Have a nice day. All right. Yes, sleep paralysis is woo, yes. Cup of water by your doors. Cup of water under your bed. Cup of water, cup of water, cup of water. Okay? Yes, your taboos are for a reason. Taboos will save your life. Kai, thank you. Good luck, good fortune. Okay? Come corrected, leave corrected. Yes, boo, yes. I love you. Okay? All right. Yes, Desi with her bad self. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple more questions. Y'all got any more questions? Because I'm probably going to go to bed. I'm about to get down deep in the cut on this beautiful full moon. And get ready for another long day tomorrow. So does anybody have any other questions before I say goodnight? Go ahead, type them in, get them in now. But like I said, I think that, and there are also secret societies among non-ATR religions. If everything in me is about holding on to the privacy of those religions and the secrets, it is a privilege. It shouldn't be common knowledge. Not everybody need voodoo, okay? Because there are other areas of voodoo that aren't for the weak, and you really have to know what you're doing. And you got a lot of people who are getting these overnight initiations, 2 or 3 days, in a room instead of a jevo. And they're initiated. Woo! See you next weekend. Yay! Yeah, we've got root work. And tip, I need your travel information. So can you inbox that to me? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a camp out in the living room too, because we did. I think we did 5 people for this time, so there's only 4 that fit in the dormitory downstairs. So I'll be sleeping in the living room with one of our attendees. And we're going to have a great time. And we've sold out for the summer. And when we didn't sell spaces, we awarded scholarships. We didn't sell everything out, but we filled all the spaces. November and December are available. We would not be doing sessions in September or October. That's high festival season. We've got a lot of commitments, so we're not going to do that. I will be at the Detroit Conjure Fest August 12th. I will be at the Black Witch Convention October 20th through the 22nd. I'll be teaching a master class with my cousin Belladonna. You're welcome for your scholarship. Yeah, I told Nikki, I said, you can come, but you got to sleep on the couch. My cousin Belladonna and I are going to be doing a master class at the Black Witch Convention, Conjuring Your Everyday Life. We've taught it before online, but we're going to be like, and then we're probably going to do hands-on, so we're going to make something. Maybe we'll make some jack balls. I don't know. I'll see what we're going to do. And then I've got some really, really, really good plans for the next year. I'm working on some pretty cool stuff. One thing I want you all to start thinking about is, once again, your elevated ancestors, our martyrs. I am going to start making candles for them, hopefully. I gotta sit down and do it. But think about when you want to do something and you want to ask an ancestor to help you. So, for example, your education. Mary McLeod Bethune. If you want to get help with your education, there you go. You want to get help with your writing, your creative spirit. You got James Baldwin, you got Richard Wright to call on, you got Lorraine Hansberry, you got Octavia Butler, you got Gloria Naylor. We have ancestors for specific conditions that we can call on, and when I talk about ancestors, I'm talking about our collective spirits that we can call on when we need help. So if you're not in the church and you don't believe in saints, and I've shared a status about that tonight on my wall. Okay, the Black Witch Convention is in Baltimore, Maryland area, and the second annual, our next one, is in October. You can go to daughtersofthemoon.org. That's DAWTASOFTHEMOON. I hate spelling out loud. Daughters of the Moon. Mama Omi, the creator of Daughters of the Moon, will be here with me this coming weekend for Rework to One. She was the first person I awarded a scholarship to because I really, really loved what she did for us. And we got witches coming out of the closet just all over the place. Okay? So, you guys are welcome. I'm finna go take my behind to bed. We'll do this again. This was pretty awesome. Talked for about an hour. That's really good. But keep in mind that above everything, read, study. You're going to find stuff on the internet and you're going to be like, what is this? Because it's going to be like, you're going to see pattern, and then blah. Well, usually blah means somebody made that up. You have to actually study things to see it's just like any other research. Magic is science. The convention is going to be awesome. It was one day last year and we sold out. We couldn't fit anybody else in the room. When I got there relatively on time, and there was a line down the street and around the corner. So this year we're gonna have it. That's the Detroit Folk Magic Festival. So you're gonna see Kenya Koviak about the Detroit. It's a Detroit Conjure and Folk Magic Festival, August 12th. And it's at a park. And I share it a lot on my page whenever I see it. But I will be doing a workshop there. And I will be vending there. I will also be vending at the Black Witch Convention. This year we having a masquerade ball, boo. You can bring your boo to the ball, okay? So they have to find something else to do on Saturdays during the actual convention, but Saturday night they can come to the ball. I've got my mask. I've even got an idea for my dress. But yeah, so it's gonna have to get contact lenses because I can't wear that masquerade mask with my glasses. So, but there are a lot of different festivals and things going on, but I've just got a lot of stuff going on here that I'm not getting to as many. I usually go to Dayton Pagan Pride, Chicago Pagan Pride. I'm not going to be able to do any of those this year. But I encourage you all to support your local organizations. If you want to start a Black Witch Circle in your area, contact me and I'll kind of give you ideas on how to do it. We've got one in Ohio now. We've got one in Chicago. There's one in Atlanta that's not affiliated with us, but they have one nonetheless. And like every month we get together and do something. Like we did candles, chicken feed, and this next weekend we're going to talk a deep dive into playing card divination, and we watched Eve Bayou, we've watched Woke. There's so many things that we've done together, and really it's like family. So it's really good to have people who are into this work around you, and making you feel like you're not just by yourself in the world, because that's why ATRs are so important. It's family, it's communal, it's sharing. Okay, there are plenty of witches in Massachusetts. Trust me, when I moved to Ohio, I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Ain't no black folks here, ain't no witches here. Baby, please, they filled my house for the first meeting. People didn't have a place to sit. When people don't have places to sit, okay, this is Ohio, this is Central Ohio. You can't tell me that there ain't nobody in Massachusetts. You just ain't looked. Okay, so join Daughters of the Moon. Join the Facebook page. There's different types of sister groups available that do root working and magic, and you can ask post on your wall, I'd like to join a really good root working group for black women. Anybody got any suggestions? Some of these are closed groups, some of these are secret groups, so because people want to protect what they're doing, what they're talking about. And but you can find them. And one of the things I don't want to stress, and it's really important before I go, because I know I said I was going to let y'all go, the only failure is failure to try. So if you ain't inquired, okay, and guess what? There was no Black Witch Circle when Daughters of the Dust, I don't know how I can get that legally. It's not available legally, and I don't like doing illegal stuff, so like that. Yes, yeah. Nikki Giovanni, I believe, is still alive. But J. California Cooper, who will tell you some stories, boy, it's on Netflix. Oh yes, we doing Daughters of the Dust. Yes, we'll do Daughters of the Dust. I hope they remastered it, because when I watched it years ago, I couldn't understand it well because of the patois. So yes, we'll do Daughters of the Dust. And then what usually happens during our meetings is, like, when we put on a movie, everybody goes in the room. But when we're doing stuff with the workings, people be crowding here. It's really hard. But oh, good, remastered, yes. But next weekend, people can have a choice of doing the cards or watching the movie and subtitles. See, I had none of that when I first watched Daughters of the Dust, and I was in college. I was like trying to understand them, but it was so beautiful. So yes, and then there's some Orisha films and things like that I'm really digging, that we'll probably start watching during the meetings. So yeah, so if I think that Daughters of the Dust will be a really good thing, and if people don't want to watch it, they can come in here and talk about playing cards. It's whatever. We get together, we eat, we have good time. And I'm hoping that, people who want to learn, we're here. We don't give you a book that we write. Hopefully maybe one day that will happen. But we don't write stuff down. This is an oral tradition. We have you use reference books. But when you come and you do Root Work 201, you're going to be making your own formulation. You're not going to ask me how I make mine. You're going to be making your own. Men, it depends on the man. I do divination for everybody to see if they should come, because this is my house. This video will be posted to my page, and then I will download it, and I will put it on my YouTube page as well. So, yes, okay. But men are allowed to come to the Black Witch meetings. For Root Work 201, I do a divination. The only man who's ever asked, it was a no. Because I also have other women here, and I have a child and sleeping. I've only had one man ask me. It depends on the man. Like, I know some brothers really well, and we've had, a brother from Chicago that comes with Jen. He spent the night. It just depends. I don't want to discriminate against anybody. This magic's for everybody, but then also you got to use a little bit of common sense. It's like I've already had 2 people, women, clown me in my house. Okay, the first time it was so surprising that I didn't even know what to do about it. The second time, I held it down and made sure that the other people's experience here was not compromised, but at the same time, it was a real test of holding on to my temper, and so that everybody could get the experience that they want. But I'm gonna promise you, and I've told everybody this that is in our participant group, if you come to my house, I don't care if you've paid. First of all, you're not getting your money back. If you come to my house and you disrespect my home, or you disrespect your other participants, you will be asked to leave. And that is my new policy. And everybody knows that. So if you can come here and act like your mama raised you right, we're going to have a fantabulous time. But you come in here and you disrespect people, it's time for you to go. Because you don't mean anybody here any good. And we're here for good. We're here to get our lives right. This is like fix your life. Okay? So we don't have room for I'm trying not to cuss these days. We don't have room for foolishness. We don't have room for envy, jealousy, backbiting, gossip, although we may talk a little bit about some things, but not malicious things. Okay? So this is not a retreat, because you're going to work. You're going to work, you're going to shop, bring about $200 with you to buy stuff at the different stores. However, this is a sisterhood thing. This is a thing. Yes, thank you for saying that for me. This is a sisterhood thing. We are building a group of witches that will probably eventually become a coven. And we have to know we can trust each other. No, you can drop the F-bombs. I can't, but you can. I'm trying something new here. So yes, we're all, and so like I said, I don't discriminate against men, but I do have to do a divination. And the only man who ever asked, it was really weird. He was kind of stalking me too. It was really kind of strange. Can I come? Can I come? Can I come? I'm like, no, you can't. I'm sorry, but I did the divination, and it matched my spirit. It matched what I felt from that person. But we're going to look at some expansion next year. The price may go up. Okay, so if you want to get in for $300, I sound like these people on the marathons or whatever, you better get in on November and December, because it may be highly likely that we'll have to start doing this in a hotel. Because, this is going to be something to carry all of this stuff out of here. But it's like everybody wants to come, and it's crowded in here with just me and Belladonna. So, I'm going to let the spirits take over, show up, show out, help me figure out what the best thing is for us and for our students, because, we're not doing this to get rich. Every dime that we've made for Rootwork 201 has literally gone into supplies, either for the course itself or to offer more products on the website. Yes, and I had a GoFundMe up, and I'm going to continue that starting again probably in the winter. There's just some things that I need to figure out. But Jezebel, get off the table. She thinks she white, y'all. Get off my table. I'm gonna light you up. I'm gonna light you up. I always threaten her, but I don't ever do anything to her, and that's why she's bad. Get down. Girl, if you don't get off my table. Anyways, yes, my GoFundMe, I raised $400, and I was really sad about that. And I understand money's tight and everything, but if y'all want me to do for you, y'all gotta do for me. And like I said, I got a day job. I did not do this to get rich. I'm not the type of person that walks around and says, I'm broke, because if you say you broke, you're going to be broke. But I ain't rich. So, yes, but eventually, you know what? You donated tonight, you'll be blessed again. You can donate again. Right now, there are sick kids that need that more than I do. Because right now, if somebody made a donation, I don't even know where the building is that I want to have. So, I really want you guys, and if you're out in the next week, and somebody, I don't care who they are, I don't care what you think of them, I don't care if they smell bad, if they ask you for money and you have some money, give it to them, because you never know when that will be a spirit. When I was a Christian, we used to say you never knew if that was Jesus. You'll never know if it's a spirit. So if you have, I saw a man today with his wife and his 3 kids in the grocery store parking lot with a sign that said he'd lost his job and his home. And I didn't have any money in my pocket. And I felt bad because every time I do, I just give. I don't care if they're using drugs or whatever. You don't fluff garbage to go to sleep. You pass out in it. So yes, these people are on drugs. Yes, these people are drinking just to live outside. But a lot of them suffer from mental illness, and that's the only medication that they have. So I really want to see people stop judging people. And if you got something to give to somebody, give it to them. It's not going to hurt you, but it just might help you. All right. Love, peace, Afro Grease, y'all stay black. All right. All right. That's right. Entertaining angels unaware. Good night, everybody.